Welcome back guys to my channel, and in this video we are going to be balancing off accounts. Balancing off simply means finding the difference between the total of the debit entries and the total of the credit entries in a particular account. The difference between the two sides is known as the balance. This balance is the figure is then inserted on the side of the account that shows the least amount of money. This is because we insert it on the side with the least amount because by balancing off, we want both the debit and the credit side to agree. All right. So what I've gone ahead and done is to draw up the accounts, and I have put in the entries. We know that double entry states that for every debit, there must be a corresponding credit and vice versa. The account that is receiving, you would debit, and the account that is giving, you would credit. So quickly, if we looked at capital May 1, we would have known that the proprietor put some money into the business by bank, so we would credit the capital account. And then when you go to the bank account, you will see a debit of $18,000 detail being capital. So I have gone ahead and complete the double entry, prepare the accounts. So what we are going to do now is that we are going to balance off the accounts. So to balance off the accounts, we want to use 4 easy steps. So we're going to use 4 or 5 easy steps to balance off the account. So our first step is that we want to add up both sides of the accounts to find their totals. Or another way we can say it is to compare both sides of the account. So we're starting with capital. So we want to compare both sides or add up both sides. So on the credit side, we have 18,000. And on the debit side, we have 0. So then and there, the debit side is the side with the least amount. Now the next thing we want to do is to deduct the smaller amount from the total of the larger amount to find the balance. Now we know that this is 0. So if you deduct 0 from 18, we are going to end up with 18,000. Once you do that, then you are going to enter the balance on the side with the smallest total. So step 3, we are going to enter the balance on the side with the smallest total. So we're going to have May 31st. This balance is known as the balance CD. It is always at the end of the period. So May 31st, we are going to have balance CD of 18,000. Now both sides are the same, they are equal, and that's the reason why we are balancing off the account, because we want both sides to agree. Now when you have the totals on the same level, we are going to enter the balance CD on the opposite side of the account as a balance BD. So we're going to go to the opposite side, and the balance BD is at the start of the next period. You'll have the balance BD at June 1st, because the balance BD is at the start of the next period, but it's the same amount as the balance CD. It's just that they are on opposite sides. So balance BD of 18,000. Once you have the totals agree and they are on the same level, you are going to double line to show that the account is now balanced. So you double line to show that the account is now balanced. Then we move to our next account. So to balance off the account, the first thing we want to do is to compare both sides of the account. So we want to compare the debit side and the credit side. Now, oftentimes when you're preparing these accounts and you're comparing or you're adding up, it is advised that you do not write down anything permanent. So you add up the debit side of the account and you scratch down your total somewhere, and then you add up the credit side. because our next step is going to require you to take the smaller from the larger and then to put the difference on the small side. So we want to compare both sides, or we want to add up both sides. So now when we look at our bank account, we can see that the debit side adds up to 20,500. All right, and our credit side would add up to 7,600. So it means therefore that your credit side is the smaller side. So you are going to take that. So our debit side is 20,500. Let's put that in. And then our credit side now is 7,600. So you are going to take that 7,600 from 20,500. The difference is known as the balance CD. So we'll put it down at the end of the period, May 31st. Balance CD. So let me shorten the word balance right here. So we're going to have a balance CD of 12,900. Put that in, 12,900. So it means that both sides is now 20,500. Once we go ahead and we double line the account to show that it is now balanced. Remember, the balance CD here is going to be there. Bring down that balance is going to be the balance BD on the opposite side of the account at the start of the next period. So June 1, you will have a balance BD of 12,900. All right. So on the opposite side of the account, you will have a balance BD of 12,900. Okay, so we move to the sales account. The first thing we're going to do is to compare both sides of the account. So clearly then the credit side is the largest side, with the debit side being 0. So our credit side have a total of 4,900. So we can go ahead and put in the 4,900 because this side is 0. So 4,900. Okay, so on the debit side of the sales account, we are going to have a balance of 4,900. All right, so we're going to underline here. We're going to underline here. Then we are going to bring down this balance, 4,900. So the totals of both sides agree. We can go ahead and double line to show that the account is now balanced. And then we bring down the balance CD, the opposite side, balance BD, June 1, balance BD of 4,900. Then we move to our next account, which is the cash account. Starting first, we are going to compare both sides of the account. So our debit side and our credit side. So our credit side is a side with the smaller amount because it only have a total of 2,000. So now we are going to total. So on the debit side, we would have a total of 5,700. So we can go ahead and put in our total, 5,700. Then on our credit side, we have 2,000. And remember, you are going to take the smaller total from the larger to find the balance. So when you take 2,000 from 5,700, you are going to be left with a balance on May 31st, balance CD of 3,700. So that will give you a total of 5,700 for your credit side. So now we have both sides of the accounts agree. So we can draw our lines. we can also go ahead and double line to show that the account is now balanced. And then we bring down our balance to the opposite side. The next period, June 1st, balance BD of 3,700. Then we move to our next account, which is J Black. So here you have it, J Black. The debit side is 600 and the credit side is 2,005. So it means that the debit side is the side with the smaller total. So we are going to take the smaller from the larger. So when we take 600 from 2,005, we are going to get a balance. So May 31st, balance CD of 1,900. 1,900, that is. And then when we add that to 600, this side is now 2,500. 2,500, so both sides now agree. We can go ahead and draw our lines. Double line to show that the totals agree. Okay, so we are going to bring down the balance to the opposite side at the start of the next period. So on June 1st, I'll put that in, June 1st, we're going to have a balance BD of 1,900. Then we move to our next account, which is F Simit. Now, with F Simit account, we realize that the debit side and the credit side total agree. When this happens, we do not balance off the account. What we do is to simply close off the account. There's no need to balance here because both the debit and the credit side's total adds up to be exactly the same. So when you have an account that adds up to be exactly the same, you do not balance off the account. What you do is just to simply close off the account. So by closing off, we would double line to show that the account closed. So we double line, show that the account is closed. That's all we're doing here. There's no need to balance off because they adds up to be the same amount. They already agree. All right, so we'll move to the next account. Our next account here is C Brown. The debit side of C Brown's account is 200 and the credit side is 0. So we are going to take the smaller from the larger to make both sides the same. So on the credit side, May 15, we're going to have a balance CD of 200 because once you take 0 from 200, you're going to be left with 200. So on the debit side of the account, now we are going to bring down the balance to the next period, which is June 1st. We're going to have a balance BD of 200. So once we do that, we underline here, underline, then we double line to show that the account is now balanced. So let me just fix this quickly. So we want to double line here to show that the account is now balanced. So we double line here and we double line here to show that the account is now balanced. And we move to our next account. Our next account is rent. Same procedure, so we are going to have May 31st, balance CD of 4,000, because the smaller side is 0, so we're going to bring the difference to make both sides the same. We double line, show that the account is now balanced. Then we bring down the balance to the next period on the opposite side of the account. So we're going to have June 1st, balance BD of 4,000. Then we go to LE's account, and LE's account is the same as FCMIT. Both totals on the credit and debit side agrees. When it agrees, there is no need to balance off the account. What you do is to close off the account. By closing off, we just double line and close off the account. Alright, so then we move to office chair. Office chair, our debit side is 2,000 and our credit side is 0. So we put the difference on this side to make both sides the same. So May 31st, balance CD of 2,000. Then you bring down that balance on the opposite side to the next period as a balance BD. So June 1st, balance BD of 2,000. So you double line to show that the account is now balanced. Both the debit side and the credit side totals agree. Alright, so just to recap a bit, balancing of account, you are simply finding the difference between the total of the debit entries and the total of the credit entries of the account. The difference between the two sides is known as the balance. In balancing of account, you can use these 4 stages. 1, compare both sides of the account. So you compare both sides of the account, and then 2, you add up both sides of the account to find their totals. 3, you deduct the smaller total from the larger to find the balance. 4, you want to insert the balance on the smaller side so that both sides can be equal. Always remember that they should be entered on the same level. So both totals, when they agree, they must be on the same level with each other. Then after you would have entered them on the same level with each other, you bring down the balance to the next period. And this balance is always on the opposite side, and it is known as the balance BD. There you have it, guys. We have balance of the accounts. Alright, see you in my next video.